let's just spawn in an enemy, and we're going to blast them away. And if you notice that whenever I blasted him away, it used some energy. What's up, YouTube? My name is Midnight Wolf, and today we're doing another video on my infamous style character on Dreams PlayStation. This is week 5 of the development of this puppet, and in today's video I'm going to be showing off a UI improvement, as well as showing off the new energy system that I have implemented, that I have mentioned a couple times in my previous videos. And I'm also going to showcase a platforming mechanic that I have added. So anyways, let's get started. So if you've been following along on my videos, you would notice that there are some things missing from the screen. Of course, in the bottom corners of the screen, we have the L1 and R1 buttons displayed, and those are actually hiding other UI elements. So if you hold down either L1 or R1, it brings up the rest of the UI elements. So if you hold R1, it brings up the movement mode options. So you have teleport, flight, and super speed. If you hold L1, it brings up the combat mode options. And right now we're in default mode, which is signified by a D, and then you got melee mode, which is signified with an M. So going back to default mode, which is L1 and triangle, and then of course the melee mode is L1 and square. But in default mode, this is where we're able to utilize our abilities that we've got. So the next thing is showing off the energy system. So if you notice up in the upper left hand corner of the screen, those orbs represent how much energy you have left, and it's very similar to how the energy system works in Infamous 1 and 2. So let's just spawn in an enemy, and we're going to blast them away. And if you notice that whenever I blasted him away, it used some energy. So it uses about 1.5 orbs to cast, and that's very similar to Infamous 1, and I believe even Infamous 2. It uses about 1.5 energy to cast. So that being said, the blast pretty much it works with the energy system. Now, that being said, if you've followed all along, you know that I have also a zap ability, and I was kind of torn on how I wanted to do this, because in Infamous 1 you have an infinite number of zaps, but in Infamous 2 the zaps are actually tied to the energy system. It actually, I think it's like for every 5 orbs, or not every 5 zaps, it consumes an orb. Well, I honestly liked the first one better, Infamous 1, but I can understand why they did the Infamous 2 version. But I decided I would find a nice compromise between the two. So if you have energy, you can use zap an infinite number of times, but if you use up all of your energy, then you can no longer use your zap. So I'm pressing the zap button and nothing's happening. And if you also press the blast button, you can no longer blast. So now the powers are affected by how much energy you have. Now that's kind of where these cubes come in handy. So these cubes represent sources of electricity. So anything that has electricity, such as a light, or like, I don't know, an AC unit, or a lit up sign, or just really anything in the game environment that utilizes electricity to run, can be absorbed, or electricity can be absorbed from. So that's what these cubes kind of represent. And if a cube has electricity in it, it's signified by a glow, and if it doesn't have electricity, then that glow is off. So if you absorb this cube, you see it slowly starts to lose its glow, and then after about 10 seconds the cube will turn back on. Now this will be probably changed depending, for balancing purposes. Like when you absorb a cube or a source of electricity in the game, I don't want it to be where it just pops on like soon after you absorb it. So it'd probably be like a whole minute and then it will come back on. But that's kind of how it works on Infamous 1 and 2. You absorb something and then it doesn't come back on for a while, but then it eventually it comes back on. Like one of the next times you go revisit that spot, it'll be back on basically. So I wanted to be able to do that, and that was kind of a challenge for these, because getting it to where it only affected one cube at a time and not like all the cubes at one time was a challenge. But I finally figured out a way to make it to where it only affects one cube at a time. So I'm very happy about that, and you notice that they all are about to come back on. And I also spread those across the entire test environment. So if I'm like, testing stuff down on the other side of the map, I will have a source of electricity to be able to absorb. So anyways, so that's the new energy system. And now we're going to move on to the last bit of stuff that I've been working on, and that is the ladder climbing system. I'm interrupting this video real quick just to say thank you to a YouTuber who has a ladder tutorial. Without his tutorial, it would have been pretty difficult to do this this next mechanic. So I definitely thank you, because it took me a lot of tries, but finally with his help I was able to figure it out. I did add some things to it though to kind of make it a little bit of my own, such as being able to center on the ladder. So that's one thing that I did, and I just want to say thank you. And eventually this type of system will be applied to that pole, but it'll be slightly different, because a ladder you only go up on one side of it, whereas a pole you would climb up it on any side of it basically. So it'll be slightly different, but I don't have the pole logic in just yet. But anyways, so if we want to hop on this ladder, you actually latch on to the ladder, and you can do this at any height. It doesn't matter what height you're at, you can latch on. And if you touch the ground, then you immediately auto unlatch. So you touch the ground and now you're able to walk around. If you are on it and you press circle, you unlatch from it. So if you're up here and you want to hop off, you can, and then kind of float away. You can if you want to. And then also, if you reach the top of the ladder, it automatically kind of puts you at the top of the at the top of your destination basically. And then I do have it implemented where if you press X, you're supposed to like kind of jump away from it, but it's not working 100%. So I gotta fix that for the jumping part of it. But I think that'll be probably a simple fix. I just gotta work on that. So yeah, and then as you can tell, I've also added a couple of platforms here to practice the platforming. And so what these poles or these beams are for is to walk across. So whenever I get the logic implemented, I'm going to make it to where you're able to balance perfectly on those, and then make it across this gap. Obviously you can make it across by just doing that, but the idea is you can hop on any kind of beam or power line and be able to walk across it. And then kind of the same sort of system, but for any small object, like if you want to like hop on a lamppost or something that's very small space to stand on, the idea would be that you'd be able to balance on the small spaces So that's kind of what that logic will be for whenever I get that implemented. So that's what we got going on for our future plans. I'll probably work on the pole and the beams and the poles over there. I'll probably work on those probably this week, I would think. That's kind of my plan, is to get some more of the platforming elements implemented. I'll eventually, of course, work on ledge grabbing and stuff like that, because I want to be able to grab ledges and kind of climb a building. You know, being able to grab any kind of ledge and then, you know, scale a building using it. So that's kind of the plan for the platforming elements of the game. So anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. Now I'm going to be posting a video soon after this one, and it'll be discussing some things that I'm wanting to do in the future, and more specifically, I'm going to be asking help for this project. So or stay tuned for that video. It'll be right after this one. I'll record it right after this one. So anyways, and if you want to catch back up with this development, I have a part one, or a video one that covers week 1, and a video for week 2 covers week 2 development, and then I have a video that covers about week 3 and week 4 of the development. So if you want to go to my channel and check all of those out, all you have to do is just click my name and then go to my playlists, and under my playlists you'll find the development for this project, and you can kind of follow along as I develop this project. So anyways, that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, and if there's any comments you want to make, go for it. Anyways, have a nice day.